Welcome to the Music Reel. I'm your host, Nicola Burton. I have Manny from Pushworth with me today, and our very special guest is Rod Hill from Sirromet Winery. Now, this is the most beautiful winery. It's located in the stunning Mount Cotton region, just between Brisbane and the Gold Coast, and it's one of Australia's most spectacular venues. It's got year-round calendar of events. Well, it did have. We had weddings, functions, wine education, Supagolf, and the incredible life changer for live music fans in Queensland, where Sirromet was hosting a day on the green. Now, as a venue, Sirromet has hosted some incredibly iconic music artists, and it's not just a concert. It's a sensory experience because you're sitting in this state-of-the-art winery with million-dollar views. So, Rod, thank you so much for taking your time to talk to us today. How are you going?
Yeah, good, thanks, Nikki. Good, and thanks very much for letting me join you.
Well, first of all, we want to know, how did lockdown impact how you guys operated in Sirromet Winery? What sort of things happened to you?
Yeah, look, it was pretty dramatic for us because obviously our core business is events, hospitality and on-site dining. So, you know, when the lockdown occurred, we had to stand down pretty much everyone. We went to a very skeleton staff, so we stood down about 100 people and we're left with about 8. So it was pretty impactful. We were fortunate that when the government introduced JobKeeper, we were able to bring everyone that was eligible on that program back to work. So in those times when we still had no trade available, you were mentioning how beautiful the winery is here, and it is, and now it sparkles like a diamond because of cleaning and yeah.
Oh, love it, love it. Now, you are supposed to host Tough Mudder this August. I'm guessing is that happening, or?
At this stage, no, it's not.
Okay, so you're looking at perhaps 2021 for that.
Yeah, look, as with all the promoters we work with, we're taking direction from state governments, federal government, working with them to find later times in the calendar, either later this year or into next year. But it's an ongoing, and as you know, it changes on a daily basis. So we're just abreast of everything. We've got our hospitality business back up and running. We were fortunate that we were able to open our Tuscan Terrace just the weekend before last. The great thing is that Queenslanders are coming out and showing their support. So
right.
If the weather improves, because the first 2 weekends we had rain, but this weekend hopefully it's all good. So yeah, we're getting back on track, but it's an ever-changing beast.
Great. So Rod Stewart may not be coming in November either.
Yeah, look, that one's still yet to be determined. And again, not only have you got our restrictions here locally, but then you've got the international travel, which is another piece of the puzzle that we can't know the answer to yet.
What a crazy year. I might bring Manny into the discussion. Manny, you've got some questions for Rod.
Yeah, Rod, mate, good to see you again. It's been a little while, and you're looking healthy and faring well by the sounds of things. So it's a question of curiosity. I'm looking at tomorrow night at Suncorp Stadium. They're allowing quite a few numbers into that particular stadium. I think the number is about 10,000 people tomorrow night. So we're looking at the challenges of obviously how they social distance in the foyer. We're fans of Suncorp Stadium. I spend a fair bit of time being a sporting tragic there as well. I love my sport. I probably won't go this weekend, but hopefully shortly I'll head back there again. So I look at that from the sporting lobby, what they've actually been able to achieve in terms of an incisive mechanism into government. It just seems that for me, the music industry, we're a very fragmented lobby group. So we're suffering the subsequent consequences. Obviously, you've got significant lobbies in the AHA and the QHA. How have you found them to be, obviously when we look at the, anomaly of 10,000 people being able to go to a game versus the numbers that we have from the hospitality side that are able to actually get into our venues at the moment. How do you feel about that, and what can we do to encourage the government or the authorities to allow us to have more people in our venues?
Yeah, look, that's a great question, Manny, and I think through this process, so we've worked with the QHA from a venue perspective, but also more importantly as a wine industry. So the Queensland Wine Industry Association has partnered with the QHA as well. And so when you look at the COVID safe plan that's in place currently for licensed venues, including hotels and clubs, the wine industry has pretty much mimicked that, with the exception that we have a few unique things such as tours and tastings and that type of thing, which we've had. When it comes to events and particularly functions as well, and to your point about the numbers of people in a function, I think the win that the QHA had in that first or second stage of easing restrictions was ensuring that venues had the ability to divide areas up into sections where they could fit 20 in. So when we first started, like in that first week when we were allowed 10 people, well, we've got 500 acres here. It really wasn't worthwhile opening for 10 people. So that win of having the 20 people per 80 square metres or one per foot has been really beneficial, not only to us but to the whole industry. How that then translates to events on a large scale like a day on the green, and to your point about the music industry being quite fragmented, I think, that's still yet to be determined. I was actually on the phone to Mick Newton from Roundhouse this morning, and as you know, Sirromet and Roundhouse have been long-term partners in one day on the green. Obviously, Roundhouse of the promoters and event organisers and we're the host venue. But Mick was sounding really quite confident this morning, and in fact, one of the things that we're looking at doing in conjunction with Roundhouse is rolling out, I guess, a scaled down version of a day on the green, and he's looking at calling it, the Cellar Door series.
Oh, great.
And so given that, the two factors that come into play are, one, we're not going to have international artists on our doorsteps until who knows when. So I think that provides an opportunity for local talent to get great exposure if there's the vehicle for that to happen. And I think to your point, Manny, about lobbying the government and saying, okay, yeah, people love sport, but they also love music as well. And we're very fortunate here that, even if in our amphitheatre here where we normally run a day on the greens, we had to put the same rules in place as a stadium, we could still have 4,000 people come and attend. And I think that's where we need to get to, and doing it in a exactly like we're doing here now. We're running the COVID safe plan. I think having that plan applicable to events is a very easy adaptation for us. And now that the government have opened the stadiums, it makes no sense to limit things elsewhere. It really doesn't. I can't see any logic in that.
Yeah, 100%. No.
Yeah.
Thanks for that response. I think it's absolutely logical. As you say, they've opened the stadiums. What they do for sport should be the same, on the hospitality side of things. We can do exactly the same thing.
Absolutely.
So I think that, what I can foresee is that at the moment we need to logic out, because the hospitality and the entertainment industry are actually almost one and the same creature. There's a symbiosis between the two entities. And I can see that if we can engineer a peak body on the music side to work with the AHA, QHA / Hospitality and Clubs Queensland, I think we have a very strong lobby looming. I think that, what I can conceptualise is that sports had its tragedies, it's had its challenges, and many more challenges than what we've had on our side of things. So they've got a trauma of assimilation into a really strong government lobby body. Whereas the music industry has never been really in any great, even though we're a fragmented entity, we haven't had a huge trauma. We've never had this challenge in the past where you can't physically get into a venue and play. So what it's done from our end, it's actually highlighted how fragmented and how many purported peak entities that we have. The beauty of the QHA and the AHA and Clubs Queensland is you've had that trauma of assimilation when pokies came to the fore and other challenges that you've had. So you've got an incise lobby group that can go to government that can be very effective versus the music industry. So I'd love to see from our point of view, the music industry, combining with the AHA and QHA, because it's one symbiosis. But the points you make are 100% relevant as well. So thanks for your time.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
So I guess one final thing, Rod, are people starting to book their weddings again with you guys? That's the most important thing of this whole conversation.
Well, it's a great question, Nikki, and we were very fortunate that in that time that we couldn't trade, and we have over 100 weddings here every year, and in that 3-month period, the poor brides and grooms had to reschedule a date, and in the most part, everyone did, which was great. The complexity that's created for us now is we're fitting 9 months worth of weddings into the next 6 months. But saying that, again, we're very fortunate that the size of our venue allows us to cater up to that 100 when we go to 100.
Yeah.
Hopefully on July 10th, then that will kick off for us, a really good 6 months trading, which we desperately need because everyone in our industry has suffered.
That's right.
The faster we get back up and running and get those numbers in, then
exactly. No, look, it's good to hear from you, and it's been such a pleasure to speak to you today and hear how things are going with you. We cannot wait to get back to the winery and just sit on that hill and overlook and look at a great stage. Look, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation, Rod, and we wish you and Sirromet the very best as part of this recovery that we're all facing. So thank you so much today.
Yeah, thanks, Nikki. That means a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Rod. Thanks,
Cheers, Rod.
Maddie.
Thanks, Maddie.
Bye.